the day. It's my privilege to speak with Mr. Martin Heckman. Does emerging business at the Chamberlain Group, and we're going to talk about why the smart home begins with a smart garage. Martin, first, let's talk a little bit about what the Chamberlain Group does.
Sure.
Set the stage.
Well, first of all, Chris, thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to be here. This is, I think, your last sation, and
it is our last session. We're capping it off in a big way.
I hope so. We are actually a Chicago-based company located out in the Oak Brook area in the West Burbs. And I realized that getting here with traffic is always a huge challenge. I thought I can make it. I'm glad I made it.
Oh, good.
So Chamberlain Group, real quick, we are the world's largest manufacturer of garage door openers. In addition to that, we also do access controls equipment such as gate openers, telephone entry systems for gated communities. We're also doing commercial operators, and we have a wide array of accessories really that serve as credentials to open and close a door.
Okay, so I'm assuming that, obviously, the possibilities for a garage door are pretty wide open, right? Like in terms
Absolutely.
of, it's no longer just clicking the button in the top, right? Talk to me about some of the advances. I'm assuming there's some like Bluetooth, geofencing kind of stuff. So when you're pulling up, whoop, door goes up.
Yeah, a lot of movement in this space. To your point, over 6 years ago, we kind of pioneered the access control space with an internet-connected product. That platform is called MyQ. We also have a commercial cloud platform that goes under LiftMaster Cloud, which is also our professionally installed brand. Just as an FYI, about 2/3 of Americans get their garage door opener professionally installed. Not everybody's comfortable, taking the old one out when it breaks and putting the new one in. It's quite a big job. But still, like about over one third are actually comfortable doing that as a DIY setting. So from a DIY standpoint, our go-to-market brand is Chamberlain, which kind of is derived by the mothership Chamberlain Group, and that's where you find us at Home Depot and places like that. So 6 years ago, we pioneered this technology called MyQ when a bunch of folks inside Chamberlain kind of identified incremental use cases to make the experience for our end users even more secure and more convenient. Imagine a situation when you pull away from your garage early in the morning, and we call it internally the "Wow, did I forgot to close my garage door" moment.
Yeah.
And rather than like turning around and making sure that it is indeed closed, you can now pull up an app, look at the door state, or look into the history log that shows you exactly what happened. So that's really the kind of like the main driving use case that we identified. That's what we go to market with. In addition to that, we enable a lot of features in the application, such as alerts and notifications that you can enable as a push notification on your phone or via email that alerts you of the door status or door activity in your home. Incredibly valuable use case. When I'm a father of two little girls, so my oldest one is in first grade now. When she comes home from school, I get an alert on my phone that says garage door opened at 2:15, so I know exactly what happened, and there's an incredible amount of peace of mind that comes with that.
So garage door isn't something that people replace that often, right?
Absolutely.
So
our products last a really long time.
Right. So, but that becomes an issue when it comes to smartening things up, right? And I assume that there are two parts, right? There's the door, and then there's the motor that's pulling the door open.
Yep.
So you're able to kind of swap one without the other. You're not necessarily tied to that door in order to have an internet connected.
That's exactly right.
Motor that pulls it open.
Yeah.
So right now it seems like, it seems like something that people don't really think about. So to get them up into this new, like you have to, it's not something until it breaks that people really think about at all.
Yeah. No,
right?
You're absolutely right, Chris. That's been a challenge for us, and I think we're getting a lot better at addressing that. We're not front and center, right? Garage door openers, let's face it, are not the most aspirational products that people point to when they have a kind of weekend dinner with their friends. But it's at the same time it's a place where more than 70% of Americans enter their home daily through the garage. So we kind of own the largest front door of the home, if you will. and that enables incredible opportunities and at the same time commitments, right? To make sure that we always make sure that security is absolutely center of what we're doing.
And are you integrated with some of the other smart platforms, so like Alexa and Google?
Yeah, we are integrated with a bunch of players in the smart home space. Let me get there like in 1 second. I want to address. You brought up a really good point on, taking the old operator out. In a lot of instances, you actually don't have to do that. So we're the only authorized company really who can distribute and market and sell a retrofit device that virtually works with virtually any garage door opener in the US installed after 1993. So whether you have a Chamberlain branded product or LiftMaster branded product, that will in most instances work with a retrofit solution that installs very simply in 20 to 30 minutes, that any DIY consumer can really do very easily and conveniently.
Okay, so is that just like attaching sensors?
Yeah, there's a door sensor that goes with that will actually mount to the physical door, and the actual black box, right?
Yeah.
The retrofit device has to be learned to the operator after it's been provisioned to your home network.
Okay.
And then you can conveniently control it via your MyQ application.
Okay.
Very easy install. Most of our operators today are MyQ and even Wi-Fi enabled. So we're kind of building essentially the capability into most of our products.
So because it seems to me like if you are the front door to the home, right? I'm pulling up, you're able to integrate through various, maybe like if this then that, or like oh, the garage door is open, I'm going to turn on the rest of the house lights, or you become a gateway into automating other parts of the house. So how active are you in sort of extolling the virtues of those scenarios, right? Are you out there educating people? Because you're in the business of getting the garage door, but then you want to expose people to the idea like, oh, and by the way, if you automate this, then you can also automate.
That's right.
This.
Yeah. We made a conscious decision many years ago to really not position our brands or our product portfolio, if you will, as a ecosystem similar to what a lot of home automation companies do. We're very comfortable with being in the access control space and really being a single point solution. But to your point, Chris, right, we also realize that different segments in the market have different requirements. Where a company's stated strategy of our company is to really broadly partner with ecosystems that we see can provide more value than we could ever do. So we're working with companies like Google, IFTTT, or Apple. Being a partner with Nest on their Works With platform for many years. Wink, Comcast, just to name a few, to then enable use cases for segments that those companies serve going forward. So Apple is a great example of what they've done with HomeKit. So we worked very closely with them over the last year and a half, launched a product in September last year that essentially is Siri in the box to then enable securely voice use cases to open and close the garage, as well as setting up scenes, where, for example, I'm just going to say I'm home, garage door opens, front door unlocks, or the barrier door between the garage and the home unlocks, lights turn on, thermostats goes on.
Are you at all looking at the security space? So obviously I can see if my door is open or closed, and know that point of ingress into my house. But I think of like when I set up my own home alarm, right? Like those sensors are typically inside on the door on the inside, or on the window, or motion sensors. But people may not necessarily, and maybe I'm just an edge case, but it seems like the garage may be an opportunity to provide, either integrate with some security provider or provide some level of, because people keep a lot of stuff in their garage, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of stuff that could be, it's not necessarily jewelry, but tax returns are important too, right? Like if you're keeping...
believe us, we talk to a lot of folks. You don't want to know what people have in their garages, but it's, to your point, it's typically stuff that's very dear to their heart, and it can be really like things that may seem wasteful to us, but to address the security point, absolutely, right? We have worked with a lot of pro security players. We have actually our very first partnership, I think a little over 4.5 years ago now, is with a company called Alarm.com.
Yeah.
that has their own installers that go out and essentially sell our products and put in full kind of pro security monitor solutions into consumers' homes.
Yeah, I just didn't know if like instead of just looking at the garage, if you're looking at and the garage door, you're looking at the garage as a space that can be
used for other things.
Yeah, like monetized in ways that other people inside the house may be ignoring because they're like, oh, that's the garage. That's not where the blender
absolutely.
is.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Like that's it's where inert things stay.
Yeah. Again, it's not front and center, but like especially my group on the emerging side at Chamberlain, a lot of time looking at things that could like even disrupt our existing core businesses and like trying to identify beyond the access control equipment as an enabler, what else can you do in the garage, right? I mean, we have a lot of things about incremental use cases that can be enabled, with delivery, for example. Those are things that are very interesting pieces for us. Or even, things like Ring did a really nice job with, Mike Your Neighborhood Watch. Those are all things that have value to end users, and we're looking kind of like at a longer term horizon on how we can bring more value to people's lives with those kind of solutions.
What's sort of the biggest challenge for you guys as you try to get adoption of? Are you trying to migrate everybody to this particular platform? Is that like a priority for the company, is to get everybody onto the connected platform? Or is that just like a nice to have at this point, as opposed to just getting somebody into a Chamberlain automated garage?
Yeah, it's really a top priority for us. I think we're embedding most. You talked a little bit about technology earlier, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Kind of embedding those technologies into our operators, into our accessories, into our retrofit devices, simply because, again, I mentioned earlier our products last a long time, and it's a pretty darn, high commitment to put a Wi-Fi chip into an operator. We have very strong longer-term product roads that will, capture value for both end users and for the company going forward.
So I think that you're also faced with an interesting situation, like a smart refrigerator, right? That's supposed to last me 10 years or 15 years, right? A refrigerator. So I don't want my refrigerator bricked at any point. And it seems to me like a garage door lasts even longer. Like I think the one in my house is from 1980 something, right? Like there's just no need to replace it. But I would hate for 5 years down the road, Chamberlain no longer supports the chip that I have, or your cloud platform no longer works with my model, and so I have to update. And does
I don't think that's going to be a situation for our company. Like we're a security company at the end of the day. We anything we do revolves around making sure we provide secure experiences for people. And again, I think there's a lot of things you can do even on a Wi-Fi stack to firmware upgrade over the air. Yes, technology will always evolve, right?
Yeah.
And there will be better chips and faster technology that will enable even better use cases. But I think there are ways to mitigate that, like even outside the operator. So again, I think we're working with the best partners, the best players in their respective industry to make sure we embed the right technology that is also long-term technology into the products.
And then how much are you doing sort of in-house versus partnering, right? So you have a lot of people working on the technology stack for connected garage. Are you more interested in sort of quieter, better motors for the garage?
Absolutely.
How much internally are you doing versus just sort of sourcing sensors and things that you can retrofit onto your?
Yeah. So again, we're a privately held company. I'm trying to give you guys as much kind of insight as the board will allow me to do, but we have people fully dedicated vertically into building the product.
Yeah.
We're sourcing where it's applicable, but our core products are being manufactured in-house with CGI employees and CGI facilities. Sorry, CGI stands for Chamberlain Group Incorporated.
I figured. I didn't think they were computer generated.
Introduced another term here. I want to make sure that we get that straight.
Velociraptors running through your office.
So yes, the Chicago area has proven to be a phenomenal market for us. I mean, it's a hub really for entrepreneurs and the smart home space in general. So we source a lot of our talent to help develop the software stack in the city. We're out in Oak Brook, so we bring those guys out, but we also have a footprint here in the city where we run most of our agile teams, and that's been proven to work really well.
Where do you see? Can you give us any sense of where adoption is taking place? Is it in my mind when I think about a connected garage door? I'm thinking like, okay, California. Mm-hmm. Maybe not so much New York, just given the. I mean, maybe that's more on the commercial side, but definitely California.
Yeah. It's the usual suspects you would imagine. I mean, I think we issue like a top 10, top 20 list every year, and the typical areas that have strong suburban single-family home concentration and populations. Texas is a huge market for us, but even the East Coast is a tremendously big market. So the attached use case is arguably a stronger use case, but even detached garages. For people, across the pond, we're talking most about North America, but in Europe, for example, we have a large concentration of folks who have detached garages, and those guys actually use MyQ.
Okay. Are there any questions from anybody in the audience? No, that's okay. So, what do you think? Like, okay, I'm a homeowner. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of upgrading. I know I need to upgrade my garage doors. What do I need to know? What are the things that I should look at or understand before moving to like a connected garage door? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Like, it's a garage door. It'll tell me when it's open and closed.
Curiosity is a big one. No, I think.
Is there that much of a premium on a connected garage door?
Actually not. I mean, a lot less, for example, than on a connected door lock or on a connected thermostat. That's also in line with our strategy to get more people connected faster. So I think the spread between a non-connected operator, right? We're talking operator right now, and connected is somewhere in the $30, $40 range. The retrofit device that attaches to virtually any opener out there retails for $99. Really strong adoption that we see, especially on the retrofit, which makes sense because the install base in North America is very large, many million. And a lot of them are not connected today, so that's an easier path for users to choose to then get connected rather than ripping the old one out.
Well, yeah, I also think to your point earlier, the idea of installing I can put in a light switch.
Yeah.
Maybe I could put in a light switch. I could maybe, but the like a garage door, it's got those spring-loaded death traps that I have to run safety cables through. It's got heavy doors that I need to clamp. It's got electrical stuff, and I'm up on a ladder. So that idea is like, well, maybe I'll leave that to a professional.
It's and again, like I said, like a lot of people actually make that choice. It's actually a lot less. Once you kind of motivate yourself to do it, it's been getting a lot easier for people. The way we kind of walk people through with YouTube videos, with the application, the installation manuals get a lot more streamlined because there's a lot of hardware that goes with that. It's anywhere between a 4 or 5 hour job. If you get some help, that would be ideal. But it can be done. I mean, it's not impossible to do.
And is it an ongoing subscription then once you're connected? So it's not just buying the door, or you're also buying into the service?
No. So the what we call core services that come with MyQ, which are essentially the ability to open and close a door, to like get door state, get a history log, have the ability to schedule MyQ-enabled lights, as well as schedule your garage to close at a certain time at night, for example. So you make sure you don't forget it. Those things are part of the hardware pricing. We've recently experimented with some premium services. Some of the partner integrations that we announced in September last year are paid-for features. We see really strong adoption for those. We've spent a lot of time talking to consumers and making sure that those are things that they're willing to pay for, and we see really good results. Now going forward, I think there's a lot of work we can do, and we're staffing up to do that, to build very meaningful services platforms for our consumers going forward.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Really
and that's it for the Smart Home Pavilion here. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Be sure you visit the vendors. And until next year, have a great show.
Cool. Thank you.